Good morning, Carnation Crafters, and a huge warm welcome to Carnation Crafts. We're live in the Carnation Craft studio. As always, it is wonderful to have your company. We've got Miss Sharon in the house. We love it when Miss Sharon comes. Yay! So we've had a lovely cup of coffee and we are ready to bring you Hazy Horizon. So we launched this yesterday, actually launched on 5 o'clock on I've lost track of days. I'm getting lost. Tuesday.
Wednesday. Oh.
No, 5 o'clock Tuesday night it launched. There was a few issues with the website. I believe all of those are now sorted out. And then yesterday we actually launched it on the channel. It has been incredibly popular. Of course, it's been incredibly popular. All the fun of summer, all the loveliness of summer, and Brian the seagull. So everything that you need in your collection to make the most gorgeous cards. And Sharon's going to give you demos. She's going to go through the boards. And we will have a chat with you guys as well. Hello, lovely Karen. Are you okay? Just to let you know that this collection can be found on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. You've got two frames, two card bases, essentially shapes. You've got the Around the Shore, which is all your little bits and pieces. And then you've got your Soaking Up the Rays, which is your two gorgeous little mice, Brian the seagull. Then you've got your gorgeous June flower arrangements, which are really pretty to work with. You've got your sand element there as well. And then you've got your, is it Off the Sand? I can't see that there. Yeah. Off the Sand as well, which is your beautiful hat. And Sharon will show you all the elements. You can get that today at $89.99, but you are going to have to use a code in order to get that. The code for it is CCHH10, CCHH10. Please do use capital letters. That'll get you your discount for 10% off. Take it down to $89.99. If you don't use the discount, it's going to cost you $99.99 today. That price goes up to its normal price, which I believe is $109.99 on Sunday at midnight. Carnation are very lovely and giving you £20 worth of vignettes for free. Because there was some issues on the website, the vignettes were supposed to disappear as well on Sunday at midnight, or the price was going to go on to them. But they're going to leave it for another week and let you download at your leisure. So there's a few less issues with the website. So hopefully you can all get sorted as you need to. So we'll come back in a minute and we'll have a look at the Perfect Papers, which are the beautiful collection to these. But to let you know, the code for the collection is 230501. Miss Sharon's going to show you the boards and then we'll show you the other elements as well. Miss Sharon, are you ready?
I am, very much so. I'm very excited with this collection and I feel like I haven't seen you for ages. I think we need to get the boss to not let Miss Taz have any more holidays.
That's true.
Oh,
whoa. She's not allowed to leave. She's not allowed to leave, but we did not.
You.
Can I just say a very quick hello to Sophie Green, to Linda Poland. Lots of you saying your collection has arrived already, which is incredible. Get it out and craft with us.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Karen Richardson. And then over on YouTube, good morning, Vera Bow. Hello, Jill Gray. Are you okay? You've got stitches. Oh, can't craft as I have stitches. Oh, that is not good. And then hello, Mandy Motley. How are you doing? 34th anniversary present from husband. You deserve a present for lasting for 34 years. That's all I'm saying. Miss Sharon, the boards.
Yes, let's start with this fabulous frame. So this is the weathered frame. Lovely detail in this. As always, you've got your mats and layers. So this can be your card shape if you want it to be. Artwork for this is also stunning. It's got this lovely, quite subtle weathered wood look to it. You can snip into these, really clever because you've got your mats and layers, but Carnation always think of the extra details. And this inner panel here, if you look, it's only held in with little pips. So if you want to take that out and have a really good frame, you can do that as well. So we've got that in the square, and I think that's about 5.5 inches from memory for the largest one. And then we've got the same in circles. This one's great because it's particularly with the nautical theme, this deck very much has got a sort of porthole type look to it. The mats and layers go down to quite small circles as well, so great. These are great for putting sentiments on if you want to. You've also got this lovely detail around the edge. The artwork is beautiful and it really just makes your project having these frames to go with all the other vignettes. So that's the circle frame. Then we've got Brian, who I've been calling Simon.
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 Bri. Big Bri.
He is just, he's adorable. So we've got Brian. Of course, you can use him as a double-sided mirror vignette, so he can be facing either way, which means you can create scenes with him. He's got this lovely, it's like an inflatable, or it could even be a surfboard, depending on how you play around with that. And then we've got a little hat for him as well. Of course, you can turn him into a she as well. You can have a seagull couple if you want to. Really fabulous to go in with your ball tool on him and give that little tummy a rounding. And he just makes any card you make really fun. So that's Brian.
It makes them very, very handsome. It's like a magazine photo shoot when you put Brian on.
It does, yeah, absolutely. Now look at all of this. This collection is jam-packed full of elements. If you like scene building, well, you're going to come up with hundreds and hundreds of different cards with this collection, because you've got so many elements to play with, so many different scenes you can put together. And of course, Carnation always think of the details. You've got your grounding device, you've got your sand, you've got these rocks which are great for building a bit of height. And then you can go very much, I love with this collection, you can go colourful, or you can really tone it back and go for just the weathered wood look with just a little pop of blue and red. So you can get very different themes and styles with this, which I really love. You've got your little boat for putting in the distance, so you can create your perspective. This beach sign is great because it's got some height to it, so for creating your scenes. These lovely little flip-flops. You can very much go down the nautical look with the anchor and the wheel, but then you can also go for a beach scene with your sandcastle and your spade, and you've even got your chips to go with your seagulls. So many different elements here. The artwork, as always with Nick and the team, is just stunning. The detail in these, which they always do. I mean, I don't know how they do it, because the detail that they manage to get into quite small elements is always just really amazing.
Those flop flips are right.
They're lovely, aren't they? I like the polka dots. I do love a polka dot.
I know, right? There's something appealing about it.
Yeah, there's something about, I'm always drawn, and I love that with the perfect papers that we've got some polka dots in there, because I do love a polka dot. Now this one's fabulous, because if you want to carry on that beach scene, you've got your lovely sand, but this is really important because this is height. When you're putting a composition together, if you're putting in all the sort of shells and your florals and bits and bobs, this is what's going to give you some height, because particularly if you're making like a DL card, you're always looking for a way to sort of extend the artwork upwards. So this is handy for that. You got this lovely hat and this lovely little beach bag. So really fun, that one.
All of the pretty.
All of the pretty. Now we've got the florals, which we always love florals. And I did hear the debate yesterday about whether it was carnations or not.
It's a sea carnation, apparently.
Sea carnation, which I didn't know was a thing.
No, I did not.
That's really interesting. They do kind of look, they look like poppies almost. Great, as always. Carnation think of everything. But they've thought about how you're going to use these. And that one needs bent over. You've got a nice pop of colour with these, which is in keeping with everything else. The key to any cards where you've got a lot of elements is, if you're adding a lot of elements, you need to keep your colours in keeping with each other. And these are great because if you're going for the very nautical look with the weathered wood and some blues and reds, you can have a nice pop of red floral with that, or the white. The layout of these as well means that you can snip into them. They're going to work anywhere on your card. They're great as grounding devices because you can see they kind of look like they are along the ground or peeking out of the sand. But equally, you can flip these. Carla did a lovely card yesterday where she put these on a diagonal, one at the bottom of a DL and one at the top. And they're great for that. You can really sort of frame elements with these. So the layout of these is really important because it really gives you a lot of different ways to use them. So that's the June flowers. These two are just adorable.
It's Vince and Darren.
Vince and Darren.
Yeah.
Is Darren wearing a bikini?
Yeah.
I mean, the Carnation mice are always just really cute and really fun. So we've got this little chap here in his lovely little, they're like little Speedos with his towel. you can snip away the towel, so he could be holding the chips. You can really create a scene. He also looks a bit, if you snip away the towel, like he might be diving into the water, so you could also create a kind of beach scene with him. And then we've got the other little mouse is, well, he's got a book there, but he looks like he's having a little nap to me rather than actually reading, or she, I should say.
Well, I was trying to work out whether it was a book or whether it's one of those, you know, you use those metallic things to suntan.
Oh, yes, it could be, yeah. Yeah,
could be, couldn't it?
Could be. I bet Wheeler's got one of those.
I bet Wheeler's got one of those as well.
Yeah, it's really cute, and they just look lovely together, and it's instantly a really fun scene if you put them together with all the other elements.
There's a thing going on the conversation here. Jane Latos has said, I'm just waiting for my lovely postman to arrive. And then Joe Latos has replied, you better look on the kitchen table then.
Oh,
we light them apples. Sorry.
Ooh. It's exciting that everyone's already getting this,
I know, right?
and can craft along with us. Now this one is, this actually sort of epitomises Nick's clever brain, because this is such a useful element. It doesn't look like much when you look at it, but there are so many different ways to use it, and the way that it's got so many sort of holes in it means you can manipulate it. I think it was Janine had a card where she'd really created, she'd kind of scrunched it up to create dimension, and it's so useful for that. It's a great space filler, and it's great for adding in height and dimension, and it's just one of those dies that you know, Carnation, when they put a collection together, they're thinking of a collection, and they're thinking of the different scenes you're going to build. This is going to work really well with just the seashells and the nautical feel, but equally it's going to work really well with the kind of beach scene. So really handy.
Miss Taz says it reminds her of seaweed.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Do you know, if you cut that out in plain white, if you did it on a 350 smooth, you could probably get away with it being snow as well for your winter scenes, like a pile of snow.
Absolutely.
So you could probably get away with that as well.
Yeah, lots of different ways, and it is just one of those elements when you want, even if you're just using florals, you, as you say, just cut it from white card. It's just something to have in the background and give height. So
texture's just important.
Yeah, it's really useful. That was the word I was looking for, texture.
Liz Cox says she got hers an hour ago. It's just really lovely to see it all coming together, because considering Carnation went to so many lengths to rectify so many things, they're still getting these out and we're still receiving them the next day, and that's a really strong message, I think. I just want to have a look at the perfect papers that go with the collection for Hazy Horizon. So just to give you a little overview of them, you can see them here. So we've got 230514. For those of you who might be joining us who may not have seen the last two collections for whatever reason, or last couple of collections, Carnation have started to change up the perfect papers. We're used to those block colours, and the perfect papers have always been 6 colours, 8 sheets of each, which gives us 48 in total. They've started to change it up. So just as you can see, we've got some dots and we've got some little stripes as well. You can just see the stripes. You might not be able to pick up the texture of it, but they're there, and they are absolutely stunning. They're so lovely to use. Why are you looking at me like that, Miss Taz?
Of course we can pick it up.
Well, I'm just saying. Really, really beautiful to use. They give you a really nice finish on your cards. It's really important to remember that all of your tones are picked up from the vignettes, which is the artwork that Nick and the team produce. There's your stripes that Nick and the team produce. So all of these colorways are picked from the elements themselves. So if I bring in something along those lines where you can see everything matches everything. Those creams come out in the tones of the ice cream, the greens are in the florals, the creams are in the sand. Everything is working, right? The blues are in the frame. It all comes together, and it's because it's all color picked, and what that means is we cannot clash. So you'll find these on the Carnation Crafts website on the number 230514. They've got a show price today of $14.99. If you're only buying those, it will be $2.95 for your P&P. If you're buying them with the main collection of Hazy Horizons, then your P&P will be free, because obviously when you're spending over 50, you get your free P&P. The main collection for Hazy Horizons also on the Carnation Crafts website, and that is under the number 230501, and you'll get a price today of $89.99 free P&P. However, it will go back up to its original price, or its full price, of £109.99 on Sunday at midnight. So you do need to get it as soon as you can if you want that lower price. The $89.99 will only show up if you use a special code, and that code is CCHH10, all in capitals. That's going to give you 10% off. If you're struggling at all with that code, it does work, but if you are struggling with it, you can use the code from your newsletter instead. You cannot use them together, but you can use that one instead, still giving you 10% off. If you're not signed up to the Carnation Crafts newsletter, I honestly can't advise you to do it enough, because you get 10% pretty much off the website. There are some exclusions, but pretty much. Just before we go back to Sharon to look at a couple more dies that we've got for you today, and I will show you them in a second, just to let you know the deal of the day today is extraordinary. And for those of you who were watching when I was doing my collection downstairs and showing you how I store that, one thing that I used was the adhesive Pro Print, and it is awesome. It's really good to use. 31% off that today. So that takes it down to £7.49 for the 120 GSM Pro Print adhesive. It's amazing stuff. It's so good. Carnation do sell digital washi tapes, so you can use it for those as well. So I'm just going to quickly flash these dies to you, and then Miss Sharon will show you the boards very quickly on these, and then we're going to go to demo. So 2 more dies that you can get today. The first one is your fine, well, it's a fine catch collection, so you get both of them together as such for £35.99, £2.95 P&P in the UK, under £50. They're these, and I loves them. So you've got open net, and then you've got your nested, and we're going to look at the board, so you'll see them in sort of, you know, better tones. They are so pretty to play with. Honestly, these just change crafting. So we will look at the boards with Sharon so you can see them in better detail. I did crumple them up a little bit yesterday, so I do apologise. We've tried to straighten them out this morning, but we'll have a look at them in finer detail. So as you're looking at the boards, just to remind you, your number is 230511, £35.99 for those as a collection. Can we see them, Miss Sharon?
These are fabulous, aren't they? I do love a nested die, and DL cards are kind of one of my favourites to make. You've got a really nice selection of sizes here, and you've even got this lovely little rope piece for the centre. The artwork's lovely because it's just very much in keeping with all the other elements in this collection, and it's got that kind of weathered look to it, so it's going to work really well. The centrepiece is great for putting sentiments on, but it's just going to work really well as a mat and layer almost on your cards, but just with giving you that extra detail. So that's that one. And then the net, this is just perfect for your nautical cards. It's great if you want to put an aperture and then have this in the background as kind of like a fishing net, so it can work really well with the shells and things.
Or prison for the mice.
Or prison for the mice. Yeah, that's true.
Don't put Brian in prison.
Not Brian. No, the mice maybe. Yeah, you've got your mats and layers as well. So this is either a really great background, or it works really well as an aperture where you've got that sort of net in the background. So very, very useful for your scene building.
Start thinking about weaving florals into that to create kind of a trellis look, and it will. So if you've got your midi floral arrangements, those kind of things, to just weave through and build that height, especially if you're working on a DL. So if you're using that as it stands, you've got this beautiful, graceful long line, and then as you weave those flowers, you can create this really beautiful bloom coming from it. So really nice way to play with it. Always nice to have those little bags of your midi floral arrangements sitting next to you, so you've always got them to go to. Good afternoon, Linda McLeod. I hope you are well. And good afternoon, Liz Cox says she got hers an hour ago.
Wow.
It's really fast, isn't it? I got to say, the delivery is pretty awesome. So we are going to look at demos. So you're going to see Miss Sharon's demos as well. If you missed yesterday's launch, there are more demos on the YouTube channel, Carnation Crafts TV. Please do go there and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Doesn't cost you a penny to subscribe, but it will mean that you get notifications when we go live. We don't go live at midnight, so we're not going to wake you up, but it just lets you know that we're here if you want to come and watch us. So that is all on there on YouTube for you, and you can watch all of the shows back whenever you want at your leisure. Are you okay, Miss Taz? You're looking confused. She's looking up at the ceiling, looking confused above my head, which makes me think something's about to fall
bit
on me.
unnerving.
I know, isn't it? If you hear a bang, we know why. Right, I'm going to pass you over to Sharon for a demo so you can see Hazy Horizons coming to life.
Yes, and we're going to start off with that lovely frame, the weathered square. I've got my card base. Let me tell you what size, because I can't remember. Yeah, it's about 6 by 6. 350 GSM smooth Carnation cardstock, and I've scored just about 1/2 inch down on the back piece to create my card base. So I'm just going to pinch that together, and that's my card front. Then I've grabbed some of the perfect papers and I've used the mats and layers from the frame. I've gone in with the green, so my first layer is the plain, and then I've gone in with the polka dots in the same shade. So I thought that would be a nice contrast to the sort of almost grey tones of the frame itself. So we'll pop those on, and I've gone in with a bit of Carla chunk with my foam tape.
Love my chunky tape.
I was thinking of you. Every time I get the really thick one out, I think, oh, this is
Do you always have a
Carla's.
giggle and then put it away?
Yes.
I love my 5mm.
That is really thick, isn't it? The 5mm. That's kind of straight. It's never straight in this studio because we can't lean right over. But
yeah.
I think we're getting better at it.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, speak for myself. I shouldn't speak too soon, really, should I? I'm now going to do everything really, really wonky.
I got some on the wonk yesterday. It's very difficult when because we can't lean over, so we're at quite a distance from what we're doing. So just to explain,
You're kind of at an angle, aren't you?
We're not super wonky in real life.
Well. Well.
That sort of ended that conversation.
Yes. I noticed Taz is keeping very quiet.
And not looking in our general direction, except for a little bit of side eye.
Yes. So I've got some nice dimension there. If I turn that to the side, you can see. But it's all looking beautiful because that dimension works perfectly with the mats and layers. Now, the other thing that when you download your vignettes, there are some fantastic backing papers with beach scenes on them. And what I've done is I've used one of the nesting dies from this set that cuts one of the squares to cut up a section from that, and I've got that really subtle skyline and the sea and the sand here in the foreground. So that's the perfect background for my little scene, and I'm gonna pop that on with some everyday glue actually, just so
it instantly makes it a photograph, really, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't
changes
it? And there's about 3 different versions I think on there.
I'm not putting you in there, Miss Taz, because it's a photo of the beach.
Instead of for yourself in your house.
Okay, we'll do that later.
Yes. Let's just put some glue on my mat. There we go.
While you're doing that, do you want to know what I'm doing this afternoon, Miss Sharon?
What are you doing this afternoon?
I'm teaching Miss Taz how to make a lasagna.
Oh.
I can't cook.
Your lasagna is quite fabulous though, I have to say.
Well, I love cooking, so I'm quite looking forward to teaching her.
You won't by the end of it. I won't be here.
Well, I've just thrown you out.
You will, I will not have a job by the end of the week.
Are you two going to
As long as you don't feed it to Mark and Nick, I think your job will be safe.
Are you going to be squabbling by the end of the day?
I would have just thrown her out of the house. It's fine.
There we go. So that's my perfect backdrop to the scene. And you know who's coming. Brian.
Oh, I love him. I really, really love Brian. Look at him.
He is adorable. I'm going to use Brian to make I've got a little caravan, little static caravan, and one of the bedrooms I've got cushions and a lampshade that I've got seagulls on. Aww. And I thought I must get a shadow frame and make a picture to go in there.
Put Brian in it.
With Brian, he's got to go, hasn't he? He's got to go there.
And then you could use the letters from the alphabet from Sheer Delight, and you could spell his name out.
I don't think I will. I was thinking of something a little more tasteful than that.
Sharon.
But yes, I was thinking he'd be perfect in my little bedroom with my cushions. There we go. So I'm just going to give these rocks just a little bit of shaping. And I've got all these grounding elements that are going to, otherwise Brian's going to look like he's floating in midair. So I can put some sand along the bottom, then I can have my rocks. I've got the fabulous beach sign as well, which is going to go this side. Because this one, obviously on the other side your letters would be backwards, it makes more sense for that to be facing that way. Although saying that, if you really wanted to have it the other way, you could always snip off a separate sign and flip it. You could get away with playing around with it and making it work if you really wanted it the other way. I'm going to extend slightly off the bottom or the sides of my frame, just because it looks quite nice, and it gives it more 3D look, if that makes sense, by doing that rather than keeping it all within the frame. So let's put the beach sign on first, because that's going to be in the background.
I love the fact that that beach sign has the same tone of blue as one of the Perfect Papers. It's like literally the same thing.
Yeah,
it's so lovely together.
And the frames as well, it just ties in. It's got that, it's like a grey blue, isn't it? It absolutely is weathered wood look, isn't it? It's the perfect colour. I do like that. And then we've got the sand to go along the bottom. And I can tuck that, I can go either on top of that or tuck it under. So that extends that nicely. And then on this side, we'll have our rocks just sitting there. And I'm going to use some pin flare for those, because I have given them quite a curve.
The blurred vignettes that Carnation do, so you can see the blurred vignette at the back with that water scene, are really, really important from Carnation. Blurred vignettes give us really beautiful perspective, which allows us a complete, so that looks like there's sea behind those. And Carnation have given us a few different types of blurred vignettes. We have one for Comfort of Home. There's a couple of different ones. I think Hidden Gems had some as well. And they're really useful for gaining that distance between, you know, your elements. So where the rocks are sitting at the front of Sharon's card, then you've got the sun, the sky and the sea behind it. It absolutely starts to make sense, but it allows it to be back in the distance, so you get dimension on your cards.
It really does, and it's because they're faded, you very much just get the hint of them being in the background. If they were too bright, it would just look wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So I've really given Brian a rounded tummy.
I love him.
I just adore him. He is so cute. So he's going to be in front of the rocks here.
He has got the prettiest feet I've ever seen.
He has actually, hasn't he?
No, they are prettier than
really
your feet
is
has.
adorable.
No.
So he's there in front of the rocks, but he's going to go swimming. So he needs his inflatable, and I'm going to give that a curve as well. He's got his little rubber ring. And more polka dots. I love the fact that, you know, you've got the theme carrying through of the polka dots. There we go. He's ready for his swim. And then I've got some of the smaller elements, which I'm going to add in. He's also getting a hat.
Which is sensible in the sun.
Yes, he doesn't want to get sunburnt, does he?
Sue Martin says, sorry I'm late, but the postman just delivered a massive parcel. I bought the glass mat thingy too, and I'm so excited. It's the deal of the day yesterday. Always check your deal of the days. They do some right little corkers. And obviously we're not with you every single day, so it is worth you just nipping on and seeing what they're offering you.
So for this side, I'm going to add the spade, because once he's had his dip, he's going to come back and build a sandcastle. So that's ready for when he comes back.
Better that than him stealing your chips.
Yes. Yes, that might be coming later though.
If I saw a seagull coming at me with a hat on, I would give him a chip.
Especially if he had a rubber ring.
Yeah.
With a rubber ring and a hat on.
Would you give him a full plate of chips?
Oh, no. You'd have a couple.
Let him have a couple. And then I'm going to add the starfish. And I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to make it too busy. And I want the focus to be on Brian, of course. So I don't want to detract from Brian by adding too many other things, but that just gives, you really get you know, there's a story there, isn't there, of Brian about to go swimming.
It is absolutely gorgeous. If you just stand that up, we can look at it on the
There we
front
go.
facing. You can see the dimension coming through. Look at that. Look at Brian.
Isn't he
Aw,
lovely?
I
He's
love
really adorable.
Brian. So all the dimension that you get coming through, all of your elements on your cards, this is the joy of Carnation. They have got very, very specific cut lines in their detailing so that we can sculpt, we can shape, and we can create differently than we can with other companies. And it gives us a really beautiful effect on our cards. It's really, really important and really lovely. I'm going to just run through the deal with you again, and then I'm going to show you some finished samples while Miss Sharon's getting ready for her next demo, so you can see some of the things that the DT team have been up to with this creation as well. Hazy Horizons is currently on the Carnation Crafts website, which is www.carnationcrafts.co.uk. Unfortunately, there's not much stock left. It sold crazy, crazy fast, as we knew it would. If you were to buy every single one of these dies combined as individuals, it would cost you £142.93. As of Sunday at midnight, this collection as a whole collection will go up to £109.99. They're giving you a show price this week of $99.99, but they're also giving you a code CCHH10, and that's going to take it down to $89.99 today with a free UK P&P. Miss Tiz Taz is showing me something, and I know not what it is.
Combined price from special, the best price.
It's what?
From the combined price.
Oh, I see.
Special
That's what
price.
you're getting off. So if you had
Yeah.
if you bought them all combined one by one, and you got all the different pieces, or you bought it today at the best price, then you would be saving yourself £52.94. Thanks, Miss Taz. That was some good maths on a calculator. Thank you. It is on the Carnation Crafts website along with those perfect papers because they work beautifully in harmony together. That's what's going to give you the gorgeous finished look on your cards. So what have the DT team done? Well, I showed you this one a little bit earlier, but I do really, really love it. I'm just going to pop it here so you can see it, but my hands are going to overtake some of it. Is that better, Miss Taz? No? Too high up? If I hold it by the sand, is that better? There you go. Really, really pretty, really, really beautiful. Those tonal scenes, the sand that I'm holding on to, those textured elements, they're the things that give us the visual at the end. The ice cream just looking absolutely delightful there. And then we come in with this one again, another use with that ice cream, those coastal themes running through your cards. Really pretty and lovely use of apertures with those frames as well. We come in then with a rectangular card, you know, sort of more of a plainer base if you like, but more a long line card. Really clever use of the dies here, really beautiful use of just spacing it out nicely, that boat sitting in the distance and those blurred vignettes, which are ever going to be your best friend when you're playing with these sorts of collections. But if you don't want to do something coastal, you want something that is completely, I suppose, neutral in that way, just a birthday card. Look at those florals playing in harmony with those gorgeous, gorgeous square frames. If you really want to go to town, you can layer all of this up with those, look at that.
It's beautiful, really beautiful.
And this is using that open net die as well. So many chances to play in such an extraordinary way with this collection, really bringing out all of your summer tones, the gorgeous feels that we get with all of Carnation's artwork, which is all done in-house by the creative director Nick and his team of little mice who create the artwork. I'm going to hand you over to Miss Sharon to do the demo because I'm about to cough.
While you just die
So I'll
quietly
do
in the
that.
corner.
I'll send you over to Miss Sharon for a demo.
And we're going to create a DL card. I've got the crystalline nested and one of the perfect papers for my first layer. And I'm going to pop that on just with some double-sided tape. So we're going to have that flat. And that will be my first layer. And then I'm going to use that lovely fishnet to create an aperture. So what I've done is, this is another of the paper downloads. It's really lovely. It's got this kind of, it's got little seashells, little starfish, but it's got very much a mottled effect, so it ties in, and look at that colour wise, it just matches the perfect papers beautifully. So what I want to do is create a bit of an aperture with that, and you'll see my netting is a little bit too long, so I'm going to just snip the ends off and then attach them on the back of that. So if I just get my scissors, and if I just snip off the end pieces, then that's going to fit nicely within there. I can stick it, I'll just trim a tiny bit off the top, and then that can go top and bottom. So what I'm going to do is just pop a tiny bit of glue on each of those little pieces there, and then the same on the bottom, just to hold it in place. I'm going to add some foam tape to this, so that will kind of help secure it even more at the sides, but as long as I've got the top and bottom, that'll just hold it in place while I carry on. So I've got some foam tape that I had at home that's a nice thin one, so I can run that up the sides and it fits nicely in that little gap, like so. So this is going to create some height, because, you know, whenever you're adding anything like this, of course you want that shadow, and I will put a little bit top and bottom just to support that, like so. I think this is about 3mm, this tape. There we go. So that's created my little window really. So we'll peel the backing off of those, like so. And then this is going to sit nicely. Obviously you could create a scene behind this if you wanted to. I'm keeping it plain because I'm going to be building up on front, but it would be great to have, you know, perhaps one of your printed scenes behind there. There we go. So that's a nice starting point. So I want to create some height, because this is a DL card. If I had everything just along the bottom, it would look really odd. So I've definitely got to do something to put some height up one side. So I'm going to add in, this is absolutely ideal for height, because it's you know, it's got that post with the hat on, so that's instant height. But if I put that right at the bottom, it's not enough height for the size of this card. So I'm going to want this about here, which is going to look really odd because you've got the ground there. So what I'm going to do is that's going to go there, and then I'm going to work out a way to disguise that so that you can't tell where that starts, if that makes sense. So I think we'll give the hat just a little bit of shaping before I stick it on, because it wouldn't be flat, would it? So I'm just going to go in with the hat.
While you're just shaping,
Yep.
Dorothy has said she's a bit worried because her code wasn't activated and has the payment system change. Dorothy, there was some issues with the website, and some people, I'm sorry, I've coughed and my eyes are watering, and some people had some trouble with the code. The code is working. It is a genuine code, CCHH10, or you can use your newsletter code. If you're having any issues at all as far as your payments are concerned, please do email customer services at carnationcrafts.co.uk. They will immediately get onto that and have a look for you. Please don't worry. Carnation will always do everything that they can to make sure that everything is resolved and taken care of. And I know lots of people will verify that they you know, had things sorted yesterday, so please don't worry. Elizabeth says she's just got part of her order. She's looking forward for the rest to come tomorrow. And Mari has just said, fantastic service from CC. My parcel arrived, but I've got to wait as I'm babysitting until tea time, and then my daughter will arrive from Canada. So no crafting yet. She hasn't been home for 6 years. Mari, I hope you have the most fantastic time with your daughter. What a reunion to have, and this is a very, very special day for you. Sorry,
Absolutely. No, that's all right. So I've added that on there, which has given me the height. It's kind of 3/4 the way up, and you know, you tend to work in thirds, so that's going to look beautiful. However, it looks really odd to be floating in midair like that, so I've definitely got to disguise this bottom piece. So this is where this fabulous sandy piece comes in, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of a shape. I don't want it flat, but I am going to put more elements on top of it. So I just want a little bit of crinkling basically. And then I'm just going to add a bit of pin flare just so that I can attach that. And that's going to quite cleverly disguise the bottom. So that now looks like it's just coming up. And then we're going to have some rocks. So I'm going to start from the bottom so that I've got my ground. And then I'm going to use a couple of these to add just some height. What I might do is snip into one of them just so, because they obviously look the same. You could flip one. You can definitely play around with these so they don't look too identical. I might even just snip away this part on this one.
Don't throw away the bits that you snip, because you can add them to the front for
absolutely,
as well,
and
right?
yeah, you can really play around with those. And I am going to give them just a little bit of shape. So they're great for filling in gaps. Oh, I love it when it makes that little popping sound.
Something really satisfying about that, isn't it?
It's lovely. Yeah, yeah. Carnation design their dies for shaping, so they already have like little cut marks in them, which gives you the ability to shape them without the paper just completely sort of scrunching up. So I can play around. I might even do it like that. Yeah, that looks quite nice. And then they look different. Yeah, that looks perfect. So we'll add those on with pin flare.
It's really valuable when you're composing to lay things out before you commit to anything and just work out. Because sometimes you can find like amazing ways where you change your mind as well. So if you're struggling with composition at any time, the best advice I can give you is take a photo of the composition without sticking it down. Walk away from the design that you're doing and go and look at the photo somewhere else without it in front of you. And you'll suddenly go, that's right or that's wrong. I don't know why it makes a difference, but it does.
Absolutely, and play around with it, snip into them. You know, the fact that you can use double-sided vignettes really just makes the difference, because I've just used two absolutely identical rocks there, but because I was able to flip them around, snip one away and layer it up differently, they don't look like the same die. Absolutely. So the other thing to remember is half the time you're only on a first layer. By the time I add in my shells and other bits to this, you're not going to see all of this either. So, you know, as an overall scene, it will come together. So lay it all out first, and then you can kind of see where you're going. So I've got some elements to pop on the front here. So I'm going to go with our lovely wheel and the anchor. So they're going to be kind of standing up, and then I've got some shells and some florals to just kind of build this into more of a scene. So I'm just going to put a little bit of shape into this, just to curve it a little bit. And we'll pop just a bit of pin flare top and bottom to hold it. And we'll put that at a bit of a jaunty angle there. And then the wheel, I'm going to keep that relatively flat actually. And just add some some everyday glue. And we're on Saturday, I see.
Right. I'm not very good with the days.
I might tuck that behind the anchor actually. There we go. No, I'm not either. I'm laughing at you, but I do exactly the same. And then what I love is the different tones, because red amongst all this blue absolutely pops. So you've got a little touch of red on the beach bag. This shell has got a touch of red. This shell is also very handy because of the layout of it. It's long, so it's great again for building height. So I'm going to pop that at the top there.
Beautiful colour as well.
It's lovely, isn't it? And against that weathered wood, it's just gorgeous. So I'm going to pop that there, which helps with the height. Then I've got these florals, which I can just pop along the bottom. They're going to add, just cover up, you know, it's a little bit uneven at the bottom, and I haven't got any sand here. So by popping these here, it's just going to give the illusion of a sort of rocky, these are almost like the sort of flowers that would grow out of a rockery. So this is more like a sort of bottom of the cliffs by the sea, I think.
Any collections that you've got that have got the stone walls in it, like I think Royal Charm's got one as well. Those particular florals there would work brilliantly.
They would
with those.
along the bottom of a wall, yeah, because they have got that sort of look of
Wildflower.
wildflowers growing out of a rockery almost. And then I'm just going to add in, because of the colour, just a pop of the starfish. And I'm just going to pop that there on the corner. And then we've got this lovely sort of scallop shell, which could sit anywhere really. Let's have a little think where we're going to pop that. Could go down here. I think maybe tucked in behind the anchor actually, because I don't want to just cover that up. So just behind there, just builds to the height, and there we go.
Beautiful.
Really pretty, isn't it? And it's just a nice scene. It's nice having that aperture. Of course, you could put a scene behind that. One of your printouts would look lovely. And it's just nice to have a different shape card, isn't it?
It's just lovely to build the height, to build the dimension. And because when we're working with DLs, there's a necessary point of placing things at the bottom of a DL. It is important to do that because you're basing it out. But if you don't create the height on it, you've got the only way that I've been able to get away with that compositionally well is by using 1 cm and white on white. So when we're composing, because that net, that open net, which is such an incredibly important dye, gives us some textural piece at the back, you can get away with keeping a really nice open space for visual relief. So that is a perfect example of it there. Suzanne's page says beautiful cards, Miss Sharon.
Thank you.
She always makes good cards. So Hazy Horizons, the beautiful, beautiful collection. We've already got over 80% of this is gone, and we're only on the second day. It's not going to last much longer. If you want it at its cheapest price, now's the time to do it, because as of Sunday at midnight, it goes up to its original normal price, if you like, which is $109.99. You can get it today for $99.99. If you want to have a little cheeky extra 10% off, pop in the code CCHH10, all in capital letters. That's through the checkout process, and when you do that, you'll get a 10% discount, which takes it down to $89.99, and you get free UK P&P. If you order today, you may well receive it tomorrow, which is always nice. They send it, they pick, pack and post as soon as they get the orders through. Really stunning collection. Please don't forget to put in your perfect papers as well, because they are the ultimate companion to your collection. You can see how pretty they are, how beautifully they come together, and how they're going to pair with the vignettes. So these are on 230514 Hazy Horizon Perfect Papers. If you buy them as a standalone piece, they will come to $14.99 with a $2.95 P&P. However, pop them in with your main collection and you will get free P&P on those. We're running out of collections. There as 80%'s gone already. We knew it was going to go fast, but 80% is an enormous amount of stock. So thank you all for your support for Carnation. It is important to us, and it allows us to keep bringing these collections, which are so useful. Thank you to Carnation for getting them out. And we will go for another I'm just reading Carol's message. Sorry, we're going for another demo. Carol says, fantastic service again from Carnation Crafts, and Royal Mail Postman has just delivered my order. Can't wait to play. It's really nice when you see it working together, isn't it? Royal Mail, Carnation, you're getting them as, you know, as soon as we can get them. You couldn't get them much quicker. You know, it's usually next day unless it's a weekend, which is really nice to know. Can't always be guaranteed, but they do try their best. Miss Sharon.
Yes, let's
Are
get
you ready
another
for one
demo
last
in.
one?
We've got another one. And we're going to go for a circle this time, because I'm going to use that lovely weathered circle frame for this one. So I've used my circle nested dies to cut myself a card front. And I'm going to use my glass mat, because from the back piece I've just chopped a little piece off the bottom so that my card doesn't rock. I want to make sure when I put the other layers on that I'm straight, and of course once you've got that on you really have no idea. So I'm going to use that line on my mat to try and make sure that I'm straight. It's always a bit harder lining up a circle. So I'm just going to pop that on the front like so, and then make sure I'm on that line. My next layer, I've used some of the paper, the Perfect Papers, in this lovely, it's like a grey blue, and it goes perfectly with that weathered wood. So I'm only doing one layer. You could do a couple, but I wanted that this card's going to be a little bit more clean and simple. And I've got my frame ready with that lovely artwork, and I've put this on 3mm foam tape. Because I've got that lovely detail around the edge, it just looks nicer if you raise it up a little bit, because you get a bit of shadow from the edges. And you've got different ways to sort of pop this down. You can choose, because I know that's straight, I can just use the little sort of diamond shapes at the top and bottom to make sure that's kind of straight. Kind of.
As near as we can get it.
As near as we can get it. So I'm just checking I'm still lined up. And then what I've done is I've used the circle die from the centre to cut a section from one of those lovely background papers.
Don't they make such a difference, those papers?
They really do. It's lovely just to have that horizon in the background, isn't it?
Hazy horizons.
Yep, a hazy horizon in the background. Now you might notice that my sea is a little bit sparkly and shimmery. And that's because
There she goes. Look at Miss Taz looking all.
I've used my Wink of Stella. So any shimmer pen you've got, I know there's the Crafters do one, Tonic do one. If you've got any shimmer pens, it just gives that, it looks like the sun's reflecting off the sea and sparkling. So that's just going to give nice something in the background. Now, who's going to be in our little scene?
Is it Brian?
It's not Brian. We've got the sand. So I'm going to have the sand here. And again, I'm going to extend it off the sides because I think that looks quite nice. So let's pop the sand down first. Then let's see who's going to be appearing in our little scene.
Is it Vince or Darren?
It might be Darren.
Might be Darren.
In his bikini. Here he is, little Darren. Now, because we've got, he's sunbathing. In the distance, there's a lovely, lovely boat. I'm going to just slightly shape, not too much, but just give a little bit of curve to that sail. And I'm not going to touch the bottom because that's going to be flat. He's going to be right on the horizon there. So I'll just pop a bit of pin flare on there and perhaps just a touch of glue on the bottom. So that's going to be on the horizon there in the distance. Got to round his tummy, haven't I, or her tummy?
They're so sweet, those mice.
So I'm going to go in.
I've been watching, I can't remember the name of it, about two weeks ago I'd finished watching one of them. What's it called? Something, they're on a yacht. It's the people who work on a yacht. Below Deck.
Below Deck, yes.
And I've decided that I want to live on a yacht. It's not going to happen, but I've decided I would like to.
Wouldn't we all? Now what I've done is I've taken that yellow floral and I've snipped it in half. Because Darren's got to be seen, but I thought it would be nice to just have some flowers either side. So I've just snipped it in half because I don't need all of it. Now, of course, you could also decoupage these up if you want even more dimension. But for this particular card, I wanted it to be quite clean and simple, not too much going on. This is, you know, this is just a tiny little scene with him sunbathing. So all I'm going to do is tuck these either side. And because I've snipped them, if I tuck them under the sand, you won't see that I've done that. Because I'm hiding where it looks a bit odd where I've snipped it. So I'm just going to curve that a little bit. And I haven't stuck him down yet either. I don't know why I'm saying him when she's in a bikini.
Because
anyway,
Darren.
It's you.
I addled your brain once more.
You have, yes, you have, as always. So, because I've rounded the tummy, I'm going to pop some pin flare on there. And it makes me feel relaxed watching this. She's just having a little nap. With the...
See, the thing I notice the most about that card, more than anything else, A, the beautiful shape of it, but the colour.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
look how the colours work with all of these, it's just absolutely incredible. Really, really pretty. Gorgeous, gorgeous backing papers, beautiful shapes. You've got the most gorgeous elements that come in on your cards as well. And then those beautiful backing papers. It's the tonal quality that Carnation bring every time that we rely on. It's like that whimsy, that illustration. It's really, really pretty. We can build scenes. We can make sometimes the most plain cards. It really depends on what you want to do, what your style of crafting is. Are you somebody who likes to craft busy? Are you somebody who likes to craft clean? Which is your style, and Carnation will take you on a journey regardless, because it fits in with everybody's styles, and I really like that about it. We are back at 2 o'clock for 3 more demos, I think, from Miss Sharon, if we manage to get all 3 done. In the meantime, I'm going to go and feed these 2 very hungry reprobates. You can find Hazy Horizons on the Carnation Crafts website, but we are over 80%, well over 80% of the stock now, so it's not going to last. So now, today, tomorrow is going to be your last chance, really, because at midnight on Sunday, this is going to revert back to its original price, which is $109.99. So in the meantime, we will love you and leave you for an hour. Go and get yourself some lunch and a cup of tea, and we will see you very, very shortly once these 2 have been fed. So until then, see you then.